Hello everyone, my name is Eduardo and in this PM Drops number 1 I will show you what's the difference between the resource types that the Microsoft project offers to us. So let's get started here with the first type of resource. The first type of resource is the work resource. A work resource provides work and effort to our project. The cost of this type of resource is measured in terms of value multiplied by time. You can have also a specific calendar configured to this type of resource. Some examples of this type of resource could be a software engineer, a civil engineer, a salesperson, and so on. Another example of this type of resource are machines, like a bulldozer for instance. So it's not only people that you can consider a work resource. If you have some machines that will provide work and effort to your project, you can also consider as work resource too. The second type of resource are the material resources. This type of resource are consumed and used during the work needed to your project. So, for instance, you need to build a wall, and to build this wall you need bricks and some cement bags. So, that will be material resource that you will need to your task named build a wall. The cost of material resource is measured in value multiplied by units. So you have your task named build the wall, and this task needs 100 bricks to be completed, and one brick costs per unit $1. So the total cost of your task will be $100. $1 multiplied by 100 bricks. So here we go with another example of this type of resource. Bricks, cement bags, maybe office materials, post-it packs, paper, and so on. The last type of resource that we'll see here and that Microsoft Project offers to us is the cost resource type. A cost resource type is used for register a general project expense, for instance, a flight ticket or a taxi. So you need in a specific task of your project to get a taxi to get to your customer. So you will need a taxi to do it, and then you will need a cost resource named taxi. A cost resource does not have a standard rate because every time you use a cost resource like a flight ticket, a taxi, it can have a different value. So you cannot provide to Microsoft project a standard rate. So the cost value must be configured in the task level. Another examples of cost resource are lunch, diners, coffees, parking tickets, and so on. Let's take a look now in the Microsoft project. Let's get started and see the product in action. Every time you need to create a new resource in Microsoft project, you need to go to the Resource Sheet view. To do that, you need to click here in the down right side of the screen. And then, let's create the first resource, named Jeffrey Miller. That's a work resource. Every time the Microsoft project creates a new resource, the default resource type is the work type. And then, let's configure here a standard rate for the Mr. Jeffrey Miller in $100 per hour. Let's create the second resource. Name it Post-it Pack. And then we need to configure here as a material resource. And then let's suppose that the cost of a unit of a Post-it pack is $5. And then let's create the last resource. Name it Taxi. And this is a cost resource. So let's configure it here. And then I don't need to set a standard rate here. So let's see this resource we have created in action. In this first task I have created here, named Create a Business Proposal, we will need the Mr. Jeffrey Miller working on it. It's a half-day task, and then it have 4 hours of work involved. And then the standard rate of Jeffrey Miller is $100 per hour. And then we have here as a total cost of the task $500. Let's take a look at the second task, brainstorm with the sales team. Again here we need Mr. Jeffrey Miller working on it. But we need also a Post-it pack that Mr. Jeffrey Miller will use with the team during the meeting. Then, to do that in an easier way, you just press Alt and click F10. And then you go here and set the units of Post-its you need. Let's suppose that Mr. Jeffrey Miller needs 2 Post-it packs. Okay. Let's take a look now in the last task here. Conduce a meeting with the customer. Then Mr. Jeffrey Miller works again here. But in this time, Mr. Jeffrey Miller needs to get a taxi to get to the customer. And then we press Alt and click F10 again. And here we configure the cost of the taxi expenses for this task. Let's suppose that Mr. Jeffrey Miller has spent $50 with tax. And then we have here the total cost of this task, 2 hours of work from Mr. Jeffrey Miller and $50 of expense with taxi. So that's it. You can also download a reference tutorial in this post. Thanks for watching.